Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing well out there, getting up, feeling fantastic, and I hope you all have had a great weekend out there so far. I'm back after not being with you folks yesterday for a video. Typically, I at least do one video every single day unless I'm out of town on vacation or sick or whatever it may be. You know, life it moves on outside of YouTube. I know you folks know that, but went to a wedding yesterday just outside of Augusta, Georgia. It was nice, fantastic day with the family and friends, and certainly had a great day. And it was a beautiful day as a cold front was moving through, and you know, it was just nice, a nice fall-like day. So I'm back here to talk about the weather, and we will do that in this morning's video. But I'll tell you right off the bat, it's going to be a pretty quiet day. It's dominated by the air mass that has came through behind this cold front. And that's going to be very dry, not a whole lot of weather ongoing today. For some folks, I think I speak for a lot of folks in the south and southeast. I think a lot of folks would sacrifice this very dry, nice autumn-like day for some rain. We definitely need the rain. Unfortunately, with this cold front, not a lot of rain came with it. But, and we'll do a teaser on this at the very end of the video. We'll speak on this in a video this afternoon or this evening. There is going to be another cold front that basically reinforces the dry air, but along the cold front, there could be a better chance of rain, maybe a low pressure that comes out the Gulf of Mexico. We'll talk on all that tonight for you folks wondering, hey, Mitch, when are we going to get out this drought? When is it going to rain? We'll speak on that tonight. So, with that being said, if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. Thank y'all for the support in this slower time that we've really entered. I mean, it's really gotten slow after being incredibly active for really through the summer all the way through early fall with hurricane season, severe weather. So also just, we need to pray for this world, guys. We all, I think most of us know what's going on the other side of the world right now. And it's very sad, very, very sad. Some of the pictures and videos that I'm seeing are very sad. So we need to pray for the world. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But if you guys, like I said, got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments. If it's unspoken, please put it in the comments. And yeah, with that being said, let's get rolling. All right, water vapor loop pretty much shows it well. We got a lot of dry air dominating most of the country. As you can tell, if you look on your screen here, there's a flow coming out the northwest all the way down to the southeast, and that is just all the dry air behind this frontal boundary. And there's a nice a zonal flow ongoing down here across areas of the Gulf of Mexico and the southern, basically the coastline of the Gulf states. This is screaming across Florida. So in this flow down here that you see working from west to east, you're still going to have that chance of some showers and some storms. Unfortunately, this is not a cold front that's clearing completely the entire state of Florida completely, but a good chunk of Florida does have a lot of dry air. In fact, you know, where the end of this arrow is right here, there's actually dry air a little bit further south than what water vapor loop would indicate. It's all the way down to Gainesville. Very nice air mass, pretty deep down to north central Florida, but a nice push of a dry and cool air all the way down into the southeast. I'm waking up to 43 degrees at my house here in Columbia, South Carolina, where that dot is. Coolest morning of the season by far, coolest morning since probably April here. So it's a beautiful fall-like air mass. If you're into that kind of stuff, which I am, you guys should know that by now. And yeah, this will dominate most of the country over the next couple days, and we'll watch as moisture does return in a few days, and then another cold front will sweep through. We'll talk about all that tonight. But as far as what's actually falling out there right now, there's not really a whole lot to speak on. There is some light rain in areas of the Midwest, but a lot of this is not really reaching the ground. Now, this area, we're getting some lake effect streamers off Lake Erie, and it's just the Great Lakes in general. And now this isn't lake effect snow just because the air isn't really cold enough, but we are getting the cool air coming across these Great Lakes. And when you got the cool air that goes across these warm bodies of water, they're still relatively warm, considering for this time of the year, just from the summer heat. You still can get a lift in the atmosphere. Basically, when this cool air goes over a warm air mass, creates lift in the atmosphere, and then you get just streamers of light to moderate precipitation that comes off these Great Lakes, and that's exactly what is happening this morning. Just not cold enough at the surface for this to fall as snow. We still are technically in early October, so dealing with a little bit of that in the UP and Michigan. We'll see if this gets more amplified later today. It probably will. And then we got the leftovers of what was Philippe. The National Hurricane Center, I was looking at my weather. I was looking at my the National Hurricane site yesterday when I was at the wedding, just when I had a chance to look at my phone, the weather, and it was wild. The National Hurricane Center just completely dropped Philippe off the map. They're saying, basically said, listen, this does not have any tropical characteristics anymore. It doesn't even need to be dubbed anymore. So, yeah, you guys have, let me know what you've seen in New Brunswick, what you're seeing this morning, Nova Scotia. Let me hear your conditions out there. I'll be interested. The storyline on that kind of dropped off significantly. But let me know what you're seeing up there for sure. Some showers in northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and we do have some rain in extreme southern areas of Texas. Maybe some sprinkles and showers down here in Florida. I mean, today, as far as the Storm Prediction Center, excessive rainfall outlook, guys, there's nothing to really speak on. We have an atmosphere dominated by cold, high pressure, stable, dry conditions, and that does not support a lot of rain, and it definitely does not support a severe weather. But we got the red flag warnings, and I really wanted to show this just because of how dry it is. We got the red flag warnings in the entire southern areas of Alabama, areas of Louisiana. It's very dry. I was thinking at the wedding last night, they did the sparkler send-off, where it was at the very end of the wedding, the dinner. And I mean, we haven't got rain here in most of South Carolina in like 3.5 weeks, and they did the old sparklers, and I'm thinking, man, one wrong move, one gust of wind, and this sparkler is gonna rip out somebody's hand and start a bushfire somewhere. But luckily that did not happen. But I was certainly, the weather mind that I have was thinking stuff like that. But luckily nothing crazy like that happened. But it's very dry out there. You don't want to light anything. And this dry air mass that came behind this cold front has done nothing but amplify that. So let's talk about the southeast, and we're going to breeze through this very quickly. There's nothing to really speak on any really geographical area, but we will speak on what is going on. And this is actual air temperatures right now. Hopefully you can see it well on your screen. Still dealing with just a tropical kind of summer-like morning down here. I would say from Orlando points south, cold front is not cleared down here. For example, you're waking up to low 80s in the Florida Keys, but if you go up to like north central and northern in the panhandle of Florida, you're waking up to the 50s. You even probably have some upper 40s into the panhandle of Florida. You get in Alabama, areas of northern Alabama, especially these higher hills of like northeast Alabama, you're probably waking up to the upper 30s, low 40s, 40s all up into Georgia, Atlanta, Columbia, Augusta, Charlotte, Raleigh. I mean, a triad of North Carolina, waking up to some upper 30s probably. And, you know, it's chilly in the mountains. Your first frost and freeze is happening. I think Mount Mitchell was dipping down to 32 degrees already at like 7 or 8 o'clock yesterday evening. And definitely just a chilly air mass. If your leaves really aren't changing much, I think these next couple mornings are really going to kickstart the changing of the leaves really everywhere, even areas outside the mountains in the deep south. So tummy's rumbling. I'm hungry. I'm sure you guys didn't hear that. I did. It was really loud. But anyways, very chilly, almost like a late October kind of morning out there for sure. If we look at what's going to happen weather-wise for today, not a whole lot. I mean, the only area that I could see any weather happening is South Florida, where basically this front has not fully cleared. So, I mean, the Miami region, just the southern tip of Florida, could have some downpours, maybe a storm. Just like I said, where the cold front has not cleared, really stabilized the atmosphere. It's kind of draped across Florida right now. Everybody else, not really a drop of rain. Now, we get later into this evening, we could get some showers with just a little low that will fly through, might create enough lift in the atmosphere for some showers in Kentucky, southern Ohio, southern Indiana. So you might get some chilly showers later on tonight. But outside of that, there's just not really anything going on. We need the rain in the southeast, but definitely not going to get it today. Now the northeast, a little bit different. The leftovers of that low pressure that was once Philippe is heading deeper into Canada will actually get pulled further back west. And, you know, areas of Canada, I know I don't speak on Canada much at all unless you're getting a big system, but, you know, you get on the northern and northeast side of the Great Lakes, Lake Huron, Lake Superior, you get deep into Canada out here. I mean, it's snowing. It's going to be some snow today, a snowy Sunday. Now, for, you know, us in the U.S., you're going to get some convective showers that are kind of rotating along this low pressure up here in Canada. And you really, I would say, you know, the southern tier of New York State, the Finger Lakes region, especially western New York State, you definitely could get some showers today, some downpours, and some of these could produce some small hail. There's a lot of cold air aloft in place, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if you get hit by a heavier downpour in New York State today. You get some small hail with it, would not be surprised one bit. You're not going to get some colossal size hail or anything like that. Very small light hail, almost looking like sleet, but it won't be sleet. It'll just be some small hail with just a convective element with this today. But yeah, chilly rain. If you're looking at fall foliage up in the Adirondacks, definitely a fall-like, dreary kind of day. A lot of people say that, you know, going to look at the fall foliage on a cloudy day makes the fall colors look better than a clear day, just with the contrast of the colors, with the whiteness in the sky, with the colorful. And I agree. I think it's more pretty if you can get, you know, obviously not a very, very cold kind of cloudy day, but anyways, you will be dealing with some weather today in New York State. I mean, you certainly could get some showers in northern and central Ohio today, and certainly some showers that can move on shore and like southeast areas of southern New England, southeast Mass, for sure. Outside of that, not a super active day by any means, but there's a lot going on for our neighbors in Canada just over the U.S.-Canadian line for sure. South Central U.S., very, very quiet. Not a whole lot going on. Could get some more showers to enter extreme southern areas of Texas. But outside of that, I mean, there's no storms, just nothing but dry air. Nice day, and just enjoy it today. It's not really much to speak on for us folks in the South Central U.S., that's for sure. North Central U.S., Midwest, Great Lakes region. You're getting definitely a flow out the northeast to the southwest, so most of your action will come from the northeast today. We'll ride over Lake Superior as this low in Canada will kind of rotate to the west and closer to you folks in the Great Lakes region. So you'll be dealing with some chilly kind of sprinkles and showers today. Could be a little bit more heavier in nature along the east coast of Lake Michigan in the state of Michigan. I wouldn't be surprised. And, you know, you folks, I know I got a couple viewers in the UP of Michigan. Let me know if you see any of these mixing with some sleet, some snow. You know, you see a little bit of snow coming up. If you look at the soundings in this region, let's see if it'll pull it up here. Come on, baby. All right, there we go. I mean, you look at the soundings, you know, 37 degrees at the surface, dew point of 32. I would certainly support some snow mixing in. Dry air aloft, there's dry, cool air aloft, there's no warm air aloft. So, I mean, absolutely. I mean, if you get one of these showers that, you know, certainly could, you know, come down at a hard enough pace, you definitely could get a little bit of snow mixing with these showers. You guys will have to let me know. So, I would love to see some pictures of that. It's always pretty when you have the snow falling with the, fall foliage, but you know, we get a little bit later tonight, and look at this big area of moisture that kind of pushes in to kind of the Great Lakes region. You got some showers down here in southern Indiana getting going later tonight, but you see the little kind of the splotches of blue in here. Nothing that's going to accumulate, but we're waking up tomorrow morning. I'd be interested to see if some snow's falling in the northern sections of the UP of Michigan that's bordering maybe a couple miles just off the coastline of Lake Superior. Wouldn't be surprised one bit. These little cold low pressures bring a lot of cold air with them. So I'll be interested to see what we got going on tomorrow morning for sure. Folks out in the western U.S., quiet day. Ridge of high pressure dominating the area. But as we're getting into later tonight, there will be a storm system that tries to push up against the the coastline of Oregon and Washington State. So you might be waking up to some heavy rain if you're along that coastline. You live in those small towns and communities up against the coastline of Oregon and Washington State, and this will eventually take over the entire western half of Oregon, Washington State, and northern Cal. So that's getting into tomorrow. You'll be dealing with definitely a soggy start to your week for sure. Temperatures, beautiful, fall-like air. I mean, areas in like Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas struggle to get out the 60s a day. And then you got the Ohio Valley and definitely the mountainous regions struggle to get out the 50s. Some of the really higher elevations up in like New England will struggle to get out the 40s. A chilly day in the Great Lakes region, raw fall-like day for sure. Chilly conditions. The South Central U.S. starting to warm up back into the 70s and 80s, but I mean it's still nice conditions for sure. Yeah, I mean, the only area that I would say will remain kind of uncomfortable and warm is the southern tip of Florida where the front has not passed. But you look out west and it's starting to warm up. Everybody's just about above average out west. But still a nice day. I mean, you're above average, for example, in Wyoming, Montana. But, you know, enjoy these last, you know, warm days that, you know, you got because we all know that winter is coming for sure in these regions. But, you know, 70s, 80s, certainly you're back to above average temperatures as a ridge is built over the Rockies and has kind of flexed over you guys and bringing above average temperatures. So that's it for today. We'll give you a brief update on the tropics. Not a whole lot to speak on, guys. It's that time of the year where cold fronts are just frequently crossing the eastern, basically the entire country. Philippe is done with. The only area we're watching this area of interest out here in the main development region, but it's not going to bother anybody. I said that with Philippe too, but it certainly did. But it really looks like this has no chance to really even get close to us. But we'll see what happens with it. I'll continue to talk about it if it becomes a concern. But outside of that, guys, it's quiet out there. The main development region, the tropical Atlantic, is now beginning to really shut down. So I think that this will be one of the last times we see an area of interest this year. But, you know, we're in October now. This is the kind of the time of the year where we watch the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico. But I can tell you the Caribbean has been very quiet. The Gulf of Mexico has been relatively quiet this hurricane season. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we can just get through the rest of the hurricane season with nothing else going on. Kind of give you a teaser on what we're going to talk about tonight. We won't talk much on the tropics, but I can tell you in the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, 13th through the 17th of this month, below average temperatures coming right back for the heart of the country and then the eastern areas of the country. So it's looking like October is going to be relatively around average to below average temperature wise for a good chunk of this chunk of the month. So we even go to the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, the 15th to the 21st. And I mean, this begins to shift to the eastern U.S. Not only am I seeing another trough, a cold front, later this work week, I'm seeing, it looks like more in the long range showing up. If you're viewing from the western U.S., it's looking like you're going to be dealing with a lot of ridging, high pressure in place, and you're going to be dealing with above average temperatures now. So, you know, if you're a big fall weather fan, cool weather fan, I am, we're going to be dealing with below average temperatures. Look at you folks in Florida too. It's looking like this cold front coming up might fully cross the entire state of Florida. So if you're a fall weather fan and you live in South Florida, I think you might get into the fun with this cold front. You know, I know I got some viewers in Florida. I don't know how you guys live in Florida. I love my seasons. I love the changing of the seasons. And I don't know how people, I'm like the opposite. I know a lot of people when they get older, they retire down south. Me and my wife are probably going to do the opposite. We're probably going to retire in like the mountains where, you know, it gets colder in the winter. I don't know. I just don't understand it. This changing of the seasons is so beautiful. And when you kind of go down to Florida where, I mean, and no offense to you folks who live in Florida, but when you go down to Florida, you pretty much wipe out the chances of true fall and winter conditions. I mean, we barely struggle to get it here in South Carolina where I live. But unless you're in the Panhandle of Florida, of course, you get the cold fronts. But you know, guys, I'm good for one off-topic conversation, a video. You got to do it at least once. But even looking through week 3 to 4, I mean, this takes us through the 3rd of November. It looks like we're going to get frequent troughing. Now, if you go back and you look at this 2 weeks ago, it was looking like above average temperatures were dominating. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, well, Mitch, if we're getting cooler conditions in fall, that would mean we're going to get a cold winter, right? It has nothing to do with it. And I can go back to many years analog-wise and tell you where that was not the case. A lot of times when you get a cooler than average October, you get a warmer than average November. A lot of times when you get a cooler than average November, which we have a lot over the last 10 years here in the South and Eastern U.S., a lot of times you get a warmer than average December. Honestly, I like the pattern we're in because it means, hey, we might get a cooler than average October, maybe a warmer than average November, and then a colder than average December. I'm not saying that's what I think is going to happen because nothing points to that necessarily. But I'm all for a colder than average December. But what I can tell you is a lot of times in El Nino years, unfortunately, winter is always slow to start. But it's typically mid and back heavy, meaning climate-wise speaking, you typically get your favorable setups in the more favorable time of the year. But of course, the kid inside of me will always dream for that white Christmas scenario. But yeah, I'll get it one day. But below average temperatures showing up for the bottom half of October into the first few days of November. Also, you look at the 3 to 4 week precipitation outlook. Above average precipitation beginning to show up in the southeast. That El Nino look to it. So we'll see what happens. Interesting times ahead. Nothing too crazy I'm seeing. We'll get deeper into all this tonight. That's all I got. God bless all y'all. Have a great Sunday, and I'll talk to you again this evening.